In late March, during the early weeks of the health crisis stay-at-home rule, a worker in a pet supply store received the following request over the phone. A dog owner reported that her pet broke its squeaky toy and she wanted to order a replacement to be delivered. Reasonable enough. It got interesting when she said that she could see the toys online, but she could not hear them. So she asked the clerk to hold each toy up to the phone and squeak it. 27 toys later, the right squeak was found and the toy shipped. Happy story. What amazes me about the story is that the clerk didn't squawk about having to squeak. On June 9th, the governor of New Jersey announced that churches could open again for public worship with a cap of 25% capacity or 50 people in attendance, whichever was the correct number. Bishop Serratelli gave our Diocese of Paterson the green light to begin public worship on June 13th, following the state guidelines. Pastors were given detailed instructions about churches reopening. Now, this is going to cause some squeaks and some squawks because with a 50-person cap at this time, we will be not satisfying everybody's desire in this matter. However, this is important. Our bishop continues to grant the dispensation from the obligation to participate in Sunday and Holy Day Masses until further notice. It's important to point out that there is no health risk if you choose to stay home and watch the Mass online, and at this point, for almost everyone, that will be the option if only 50 people can be in attendance at this time. The bishop's guidelines state that those who are particularly vulnerable to the coronavirus should not attend. Those over 60 years old with underlying medical conditions such as cardiovascular disease, respiratory problems, diabetes, etc. You've all seen this on TV. They should all continue to follow Mass at home via the live stream or television until restrictions are completely removed. Now, a person with a cold or a fever or any kind should stay at home to protect the health of others. At St. Philip, we will continue our live streaming of Masses indefinitely into the future. Your decision whether or not to attend in-person Mass should be prayerfully discerned and decided not for sentimental or emotional reasons, but rather based on the factors of risk that apply to you and with the health of other people in mind when you make your decision. In addition, you will need to decide about whether or not you will receive communion. Attached to this email is a link to the full article from America, the Jesuit Review magazine of May 27th, which details an interview with Dr. Anthony Fauci, director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. The title of the article is Dr. Anthony Fauci, to keep churches safe, use masks, limit singing, and wait to resume communion. If you wish to use a spiritual discernment process for your decision about what to do, either to apply to come to church or to receive communion, see the Sunday homily for May 20th at stphilip.org. You may ask the question, what will be required in our open church? Face masks must be worn at all times. 6-foot distancing must be maintained. The church will be providing disinfecting between services of the entire church building. Hand sanitizer is provided at all doors. Congregational singing is prohibited. You may wonder, with a limited number of people allowed in the building, who will decide who goes to church and who doesn't? Well, at St. Philip, we have adapted our website, stphilip.org, to include a process of registering for Mass. Press the button Register for Mass before 5 p.m. of the day before you wish to attend Mass. For example, Friday at 5 p.m. would be the deadline for the Saturday 5:30 p.m. Mass. Add your name to the list for the Mass you wish to attend and the number of people in your family. A random computer-generated system will select the proper number of people to meet the state requirements at this time. Now, the number will change, and we will keep you up to date about those changes. After you register and the selection has been made automatically, you will receive an email informing you whether or not this lottery system has chosen you and your party at this time. Should you not have the ability to register online, please ask a family member or a friend to do it for you. As a last resort, you may call Barbara Salzer, our parish administrative assistant, at 973-779-6200 before 3 p.m. the day before the Mass you wish to attend. That will give her time to enter your name into the registration process for the unbiased computer selection process. One way or the other, everyone will be notified shortly after 5, the day before the Mass you requested. Another question: if I'm randomly selected to attend Mass, how do I proceed? The church will be open 45 minutes before the liturgy. It's important to come early because the church will be closed 10 minutes before the Mass to ensure that people are in place and adhering to the guidelines that have been mandated. You may park where you wish. However, the doors to the lobby of the school will remain locked because otherwise the school lobby and the adjoining corridors would need to be disinfected after each opening and closing of the door. This is quite a lot. So choose to park where you wish, but those doors will remain closed to keep our school intact at this time. The guidelines mandate only one entrance to a church building. Our main entrance, under the portico at the front doors of the church, will be the only entrance now. The parking lot side doors and the bell tower side doors are exit only. Our main entrance is handicapped accessible with a ramp into the church body. The parking lot door at the rear of the church is handicapped access as an exit. We did this 6 years ago. 6-foot distancing will be required as each individual enters the church vestibule, which means it may require you to line up outside. Now, when you enter the church vestibule, you'll be expected to wear a face mask and to come with one. You'll be welcomed by a member of our well-trained hospitality ministry team and asked to give your name. You will be checked off and given instructions about how to enter the body of the church. Once inside the church, you will notice that there are designated seats marked by green tape. You may only sit in these marked areas which observe 6-foot distancing. Now, it means this: you may not end up sitting in your usual spot, and I'm sure that for the sake of public health, you will understand this inconvenience. In other words, once you get here, no squeaking or squawking, please. Instructions about reception of communion will be given during the Mass. Please note, the guidelines instruct us that priests, Eucharistic ministers, and receivers of communion are not allowed to wear gloves at that time of communion reception or in the giving of communion. A hand sanitizer will be at each communion station, and communion will only be offered on the hand. Another question: what is the temporary Mass schedule from June 13th to June 21st? We need to take this one day or 1 week at a time. So please note the following schedule. Masses that will be broadcast are labeled BC. Saturday, June 13th, 5:30 p.m. Sunday, June 14th, 10 a.m., BC. Monday, June 15th, church closed for deep cleaning. Tuesday, June 16th, 9 a.m., BC. Wednesday, June 17th, 9 a.m., BC. Thursday, June 18th, 9 a.m., BC. Friday, June 19th, 9 a.m., BC. Saturday, June 20th, 5:30 p.m. Sunday, June 21st, 8 a.m., 10 a.m., BC. 12 noon. When can I visit the church? At the end of every Mass, whether or not you receive communion, everyone must leave the church. On weekends, the church will be closed immediately following the Mass for the required cleaning to prepare for the next. After the weekday Masses, except if there's a funeral, the church will be opened until noon. There will always be a trained hospitality minister to ensure that guidelines are followed and social distancing maintained. Well, I certainly feel like squeaking and squawking myself, don't you? But honestly, I'm reminded that our highest goal is for life. Working for life from conception to natural death is our Catholic value. We hold this to be a sacred truth. However inconvenient this new normal may be, when we remember that it's all being done for our health and safety and for the health and safety of others, these guidelines and procedures are a small price to pay for the general good. In fact, let's face it, they're a sacrifice, and sacrifice is at the heart of love. I assure you that we are doing our very best for your spiritual and physical care. Please know that you're in our prayer, and I ask, please pray for us during this difficult time. We wish to offer you all that we can and are trying to find the best ways to reach out, continue to minister to you, and to help you and ourselves stay connected to God, who is beyond all ceremonies, all rituals. God's beyond everything. God touches us in the way God does, with love, with unconditional acceptance. Whether we can be in one place or another, God is always with us, and that's a beautiful truth of our faith. So I ask you now, please join me in the prayer that is most appropriate at this time, the Serenity Prayer. Thank you.